Okay, time to subtract rational numbers on a number line. So this is the page in your interactive notebook. This would be page 26. This is what it looks like. Now then, the title is, of course, subtracting rational numbers on the number line. I didn't write that at the top, but in my book, I did. So on this video, it's not there, but realize that in your book, you need to write the title, Subtracting Rational Numbers on a Number Line. Got my I can statement, and then I've got some of my notes right here. Now you can pause this if you need to take a longer look at them and copy them in your book. As a matter of fact, I would. Now down here below these, right in this little area, this is where I actually glued my problems down, the problems that I handed you in class, the little booklet where you open up the inside and you've got the number lines. And of course, I cut those into strips, cut the little strips where you can open one at a time. I'll have pictures of that you can take a look at. But for right now, let's move on. First problem. Now for the number line, I didn't number my entire number line. For your number line, you're going to want to start off the page over here where you can't see mine, but you would start all the way to the left and start numbering at -10. And then you'll number out this way. But this is what I can fit on my screen right now to give you the best look at it. Okay, so if I was working this problem, the steps say that I need to work it as an addition problem. So that means I change the negative there to, or the subtraction symbol to an addition symbol, and change it from a +4 to a -4. So now I follow my addition rules. I've got two negative signs, which means I'm going to keep the negative sign, and I'm going to add the numbers. So 3 + 4 is 7, so I get a -7. That's where I should land. So to show this graphed out, if I went and started at -3, and then right here on my notes, right here on my notes, it says to take away a negative, move to the right. To take away a positive, move to the left. So the original problem, if I can get back to it, was I was adding or taking away a positive. So that means if I am taking away a positive, I am moving to the left. That might be kind of confusing, but you can see if you solve the problem that you need to wind up at -7. So here we go. I'm going to go back 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's where I landed, and it's on -7. Perfect model. That's what I want to see. Okay. Next problem. I'm going to solve it the same way. Let's take the 6.5. Going to change subtraction to addition. And the next number is a -3.25. I'm going to change that to a +3.25. So same signs, add the numbers. Now remember with decimals, you line up the decimals when you're adding and subtracting. In this case, I'm adding. So there's 7 and there is 9. Decimal falls down. It is 9.75. That would be a positive 9.75. Okay, so to model this, I'm going to hit my halfway point. So this would be 0.5 right there. Now I'm going to do 1/4, which would be 0.25 on each side of the line. Okay, so now then I've got it. So 6.5 is there, right there. And I'm going to take away a negative number, which moves to the right. So I'm moving to the right 3.25. So I'm going to move to the right 3. So here is 1, 2, and 3. And then I've got to go 0.25, which is that much right there. So that lands me right at 9.75. Perfect. That's a perfect model. That's what I wanted to see. Final problem. Here we are. So in actually doing this, I'm going to Well, I'm going to do quite a few things. So first of all, it's going to be a negative number. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 3 is 11/4. So I'm going to add to it. I'm going to change this into a positive number now. So I'm not going to need a negative sign. And I'm actually going to change this 1/2 to 2/4. So I'm going to get my common denominator now. So 4 times 1 is 4, plus 2 is 6/4. There we go. So now then, I've got different signs, which tells me subtract, keep the sign of the bigger number. So 11 minus 6 is 5, and the 4 stays right there. So that is going to be a negative 1 1/4. Okay. So now then, I'm using fourths as my common denominator. So I'm going to label my halfway point, which would be 2/4. So here's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. There we go. So I have to wind up at a negative 1 1/4. Remember, I am subtracting a negative number, which moves to the right. So I'm going to start off at 2 3/4, which is there. And I'm going to move back 1 1/2. So there is moving back 1 is going to put it right here. And moving back 1/2, which is 2/4, puts it there. So that is 1 1/4, a negative 1 1/4 is what that is. So that is another model that matches perfectly. Okay, so hopefully you have been able to see this. You have been able to fill out your notes. We'll have an assignment on this tomorrow. See you tomorrow.